Hi everybody. So I spent the weekend looking at various options for website animation. So we're building the Skeen website. We want it to be amazing, and Lee, you've come up with some amazing ideas. So here they are down here. Where are they? Right, here we are. Hi, I'm just getting back into web design. So you've looked at some designs on AWW Awards and you found some good designs for us to get our teeth into. So we were debating last week how we could accomplish some of these, and I've started to have a detailed look at it. So I spent the weekend doing that and just wanted to run through with you guys about my findings. So the first thing I did was I went to this website here, Artisan Talent, which I've got open here, and this is really nice. It's got these animated birds. There's no hover effect on this, so it's all in a loop. It's very subtle, it's very nice. So this little animated bit here, animated birds, animated bubbles coming out here, and this little factory producing smoke. So really amazing little site. Impressed with how things just stack on top of each other, these boxes. The really confident font, the animation. And it's got some really subtle things as well, like these little animated icons. Animated icon here, good use of white space, another animated feature here. So yeah, really good example. So I looked at this in a bit detail, and this site is actually using various ways of doing animation, but I'll run through that. The other site that Lee identified was New Media. Let's have a look at what they've got. Come on, come on. I wonder if our internet's gone down while I've been loading this. Page unresponsive. Ooh, not good look, not good look at all. So where is this site? Let's see if we can open it up here. Nope, it's not wanting to open. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Now, on this site, what we had was some animated text, almost like a sort of typewriter style text, which kept typing out on the screen and then disappearing and changing. The other one that you pointed out, Lee, was this one here, Pocket Penguins, because you like the scroll down colour of this. So if I scroll down this comes along, which is easy to do. But these effects here are not so easy, especially in WordPress, but they're very nice. And they occupy the whole space, so there's no little white space at the bottom here, it's a whole screen. And the same here again, and again, and it goes to white. But yeah, really like that as well. So that was a challenge, trying to find how do we go about doing this, and how do we fit this into WordPress. So this split the task into two stages. One, finding out how to build animation. So I tried various ways to figure out animation. I started with the Google search which led me to this, and we spoke about this last week, SVG Animator. And all it does is is very much like a web-based Adobe After Effects with a timeline, and you can play animations, create animations. So it's very simple to operate, and I was quite impressed with it until I realised it's just too basic and too simple what it produces. So I think we're going to dismiss that. Then I came across some JavaScript frameworks. One of these frameworks is called Anime. So I started playing about with Anime on CodePen, and you see some examples of what it can do. You can create a really simple ball bouncing off a wall effect here. You see that? That's all done using CSS and the JavaScript, and this framework, which is Anime. This framework here is that does all the clever stuff in the background, but it's just a simple call that you make to it. So it's quite good, but you do have to spend a lot of time, invest a lot of time into understanding what Anime can do. And before you can start using it, you need to be accessing your JavaScript libraries and code directly. So you need to have access and be confident with JavaScript and CSS and HTML. And it's not something that we're quite ready to be doing just yet, but it's very powerful. There's an example of triangles. Pretty cool, isn't it? Like this. So this, although there's a framework library there that helps you, there's a lot of code, and you have to figure all this code out, all the paths, everything, blindly, effectively using code only. And I don't tend to work particularly well that way. It takes me a long time, and it turns out to be a long project and a big project. It's trying to draw using numbers is hard. So after that, I looked at what did I look at here? There's a bit more to Anime. So all the things you can do with it, all library things, the library parameters that are available to play with. So you can click on this, and it'll delay. Shows you the easing function works. Some of the properties: directive reverse, loop X number of times, loop alternate number of times, loop reverse. So the code's amazing, and it has a lot of these functions built in, but I would say this is more advanced stuff, and introduced into a project with Animes, it's very time consuming. So I was kind of stuck between SV Gator, which is too simple, and Anime, which is a JavaScript framework and is very complicated. So I came across, I wanted to be able to do my animations the way that you can do it in After Effects. I did some research and found that actually there is something that you can plug into After Effects, and it's called Lottie. It's made by and developed by Airbnb, but they've opened this up for use to anybody, and it's really good fun. It says here on the Lottie website, easily add high quality animation to any native app, so it's great for mobile as well. And why Lottie? It's flexible, small file sizes. It's got a lot of features. So spent a fair bit of time playing about with it. I downloaded the plugin onto After Effects. This is examples of what people have done with the animation. It's absolutely brilliant. So this has the power to be really amazing, to produce amazing stuff, but also has the flexibility because it's based on a visual way of designing as opposed to using numbers. So I wonder if I can bring up my After Effects and I can show you what it looks like in After Effects. This is it here. So I'll just load up After Effects and install the plugin onto it, and you can see the quality of it. I did do a couple of little sample projects to play around with and try to implement them into WordPress, and that's where I kind of got stuck. But I'll show you this just now. Just wait for it to load up. Okay. So while that's loading, let's have a look to see what people have done with this. A lot allows engineers to build richer animation without the painstaking overhead of rewriting them. Hamburger menus, Twitter heart. Pretty cool. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here's After Effects. Says not responding now. Here we go. So I'm going to open up a recent project, Skein logo. Just open that up. So the plugin resides under Windows. It's just a little bit slow reacting just now. Windows extensions. There's a plugin called Body Moving, and it's available from the Adobe CC Cloud Store. I started off doing an animation like this, just with the logo, the Skein logo, a little warp effect, liquefy effect, and then a little spin just to see how it would cope. And it's great, but then I discovered that you can't use all the functions within After Effects. So there's the whole effects menu. I just click on that. All of this, you can't use any of these functions, but you can use all of the click on layer. You can use all of the transform functions in here, and as it turns out, that's plenty. It's more than you need. So this is really powerful. And what it does is, once you finish a project, you click Window, Extensions, Body Moving, and then the plugin launches its code. And this is where the magic happens. Instead of saving it as an AI file, it saves it as a JSON file, JSON file, which is basically a data file. So it turns all the animation into effectively a data file, paths. So when you save that, you can then load that onto your HTML site or your browser, and you can access it. So, hi Mandy. Hi. So I'm just gonna build the animation. So yes, produces a JSON file, but it also requires the Lottie JavaScript file, which is a standard file for rendering the JSON file, and one line of code in the HTML file. So it's pretty clean in that sense. The problem I had was, second part was, how do I get this into WordPress now? So WordPress is not really designed for, especially the way that we use it. We use it with themes, so it's not really designed for using within, for us to go in and use it to edit code. For example, the Skiing website has been written using Divi, and when I add in the code here or here, well, first of all I started putting the code in here, and it just got really messy, wouldn't work, I didn't like it. So then I discovered that actually there's also a plugin that handles the Lottie body moving plugin that's the equivalent of that exists in WordPress as well, which means that you can go in into plugins and install it. Again, everything's extremely slow today. Let's say WP moving, body moving, uses body moving exported JSON files in WordPress. So I installed that and I thought, brilliant, going to be easy now. So once you install that, you get this little menu option appear, which is called animations. So I went to animations, add in the Skiing logo, upload the JSON file. Doesn't let you preview it here for some reason. I wonder if you can preview it by pressing play here. No. Okay. So, but the best thing about this thing is that it creates a little shortcode. So this little shortcode here, I'll copy this, and you go to your page and you just drop that shortcode into the page that you're working on. So, where was I working? Okay. I was working on this page here. So I went in and created a code element, and into it I dropped in this body moving shortcode. And you can preview it by clicking this little button here, and it will load and let you see what it's doing. At the moment I've got a black background set to it. Don't know why. Mobile view. So it's okay, but what I want to do with this is I want to grab this block of code and I want to use JavaScript to create some events. For example, I only want it to do work and do this effect when I hover over it, and I don't want it to loop so much, but I don't have any control of that because Divi makes it almost impossible for you to add in your JavaScript and manipulate it. I'll show you what the finished code looks like. So if I go to preview page, you'll be able to see what the page loads as. So this is a really simple page with this animation in it. So if I click view page source, it spits in all this. This is all the SVG code that we're seeing here. There's all SVG code that come out from Lottie. What this plugin has done is, when it was exported from After Effects, it was actually put into a JSON file. But this plugin takes that file, that JSON file, and drops it straight into the code, and gives you this hideous bit of code, so it's impossible to maintain. And when we have multiple animations, it's going to look even worse. This is just one animation. So we've got 6 or 7, small animations. This is what you would get 6 or 7 times. It's just horrendous from an SEO point of view, from a maintenance point of view. It's just not good housekeeping in terms of keeping good code. So I do like Lottie. I like the way that it works. I think that's definitely the way I want to work. What I don't like is its integration with Java, integration with WordPress. Now, we can force it into Java, into WordPress, but it's a hack, and it's not beautiful, and it's going to create maintenance issues in the future. So I'm not keen on it. So then I went about trying to, figure out how to put this into WordPress, what other options there were, and the only options were to hack into the inside of WordPress, all the PHP files, and to render that page with the right stuff on it. But even then, it's got so much bloated code because of this Divi builder, and I think that's where it falls short. Is WordPress doesn't adapt well when you try to introduce CSS and JavaScript into it. So that led me to think about, why are we using WordPress at all? And I did some further research on what we could be using. So I thought about just going back to raw HTML, CSS and JavaScript, and ditching WordPress. Not so much ditching WordPress, but using WordPress in the right occasion. For example, Bambino Gift is an e-commerce site, and that's fantastic. We've got the Divi theme, it's got integration with WooCommerce, we can use it for that purpose. But why are we using it for a digital marketing agency website? We don't need blog posts, we don't need e-commerce, we don't need people signing in. All we need to do is showcase our skills, and we can't do it because we're so used to using WordPress themes. So we need to kind of get back to raw coding. But that's not as scary as it sounds, because coding's really moved on, and there's lots of help. And when I started looking at little snippets, you just pick out bits of code and just drop it into your HTML editor. So there's a little site, and this is one of thousands of sites. You just go into little snippets, and let's see what it does. Image with title hover, so you can create this effect, and then you can just pick out the code, just copy paste this code. This is the corresponding CSS. It's really lightweight. It can be copied and dropped straight into your files. Image with title tag hover, can do that. Image with title and price icons on hover. Again, you can pick out the HTML and CSS, so you don't have to reinvent HTML. You don't have to remember every bit of code. You can do button animations. This is the CSS code. This is the CSS code there. It's all there, and it's dead easy to change anything. You want to change the background color. If I want to edit it, I have to go into Code Pen. I'll go into Code Pen and play about with it. So Just made the top line white. Dead easy. Nothing gives you in WordPress gives you this much control. So I can just play about with it. So I'll close that. And also we got image title position hover effect. So these are all bits of code we can grab really quickly. So profile image with title icons. And also we got image with title and site title over hover. So I really like this effect. There's the HTML, there's the CSS. It's all numbered nicely. There's another effect, image with hover over title. Really nice transitions. You can have thousands of button effects. They're ready to basically pick out and drop into your code. So hover over that, quite nice. What else we got here? Image with overlaying testimonial. Okay. Image with button on hover. So it just goes on. There's 74 pages worth of snippets, and that is one of thousands of websites. Websites like CodePen are where people go out and basically code. You can test and play about with code and create amazing things. So in here we can do all sorts of things, but you can also go into CodePen and really find anything you want. There's thousands of amazing things you can do. Let's have a look at this one. All HTML and CSS. This is the actual time right now, isn't it? 4:08. That's amazing. So we can create really amazing stuff as an agency, but we have to move away from our reliance on WordPress. Okay, so we're now in the world of coding, and I went back and looked at AWW Awards, and I wanted to check some editors that were on the market and see what people were using to build these things, and there's some really great ones that are really easy to use. One of them is Stylizer. So you can not be scared of doing CSS. It's coding, but it's using their software, and it's brilliant because it's screen based. Over here we have Coffee Cup, which is something similar, another coding environment. So it lets you do HTML, CSS, and then on top of that, if we can leave WordPress, we can start to animate CSS and generate the code. So there's a little tool here that lets you generate code, another tool here that lets you generate codes and keyframes. So the secret is pick out bits of HTML, CSS, pick out bits of CSS animation code and drop it into your files and build it up that way. For best customization, the best options, that's definitely the way to go forward. There's another platform, Animasta, pretty good fun stuff. You can do anything you like with it. So tracking, you can change the way that loads, focus in, blur out, These are all CSS effects, which are normally quite hard and difficult to access. Pop up. Tracking in again, that's pretty cool. How do I change the text on this? Basics, entrances, exits, text. Generated by Animasta. There's not that much there. Yeah. Keyframes are there, the classes are there. So you'd have to be a genius to do this. But it's good fun. Attention, background. EG pan, color change. So there's some amazing things we can do in here. But WordPress does make it difficult to do that. So I'm not saying abandon WordPress. I'm saying use WordPress at the right time. So we use WordPress for big e-commerce projects. We use CSS, HTML, JavaScript for anything that's really very much design led. But that's not to say that we can't use WordPress. So what I've discovered also is a trialed really nice tool called PineGrow. I'm going to find it now. PineGrow. So really nice bit of software called PineGrow, which lets you create your own WordPress themes effectively. There's quite a lot of work involved in that, but the technology's there. We need a bit more time to do this, but I think what we can do is recognise that we shouldn't be scared of HTML code and CSS. We should start getting back into that again if we want to have that bespoke look. Also recognise that we can create our own style sheets. We're not going to be a proper agency until we can start building our own themes, and we're only a couple of months away from producing a really good quality theme that we can roll out for a lot of our projects in-house. So well, that's pretty much it. I'll give you a little view of PineGrow. This is another WYSIWYG type editor. There's so many features, I've got to learn it all. But this lets you export, this lets you create WordPress themes as well as in HTML files as well. So it lets you blend the two of them together. And the beauty of having WordPress is the bolt-on functionality we can have with e-commerce, the bolt-on forms, the bolt-on users logging in, the bolt-on blog posts, all those stuffs that comes with it. We can still use that. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. Hope I've explained myself well. Cheers.